he he became the player personnel
Loomis.
director there. Huh?
Mickey. He came under Mickey Loomis.
Yeah, which we all know how Mickey Loomis ended up with that good old Bounty Gate. He was there for, let's see, he was there from '01 all the way till 2013. So Ryan Pace was a part of that Bounty Gate. Ha! Wow, you learn something new every day just going on Google and Wikipedia. You never know. Jay, anyway, we can take a quick break.
Yep. We'll be right back. And if you haven't had enough of our banter tonight, you want to visit NFL Addictions on Facebook.com for all of your NFL banter and chatter. It's not a trash talk site, so keep it clean and keep it cordial. That's NFL Addictions on Facebook.com. And if you still got an itch to scratch when you're done with that, you want to visit Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for their version of the raffle for all kinds of cool prizes, even a chance at winning some cash. You buy a $10 raffle ticket for a chance at winning $100. That's a chance at making 10 times your money. It don't get any better than that. That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for a chance at all kinds of cool prizes. Tell them what you've won, Dave.
I've won everything from tailgating barbecue sets. That I have a Packers one that I won, folks, for $400. I put $40 down on the spot. I won it, and it was out of 20 spots. It's really worth it. I've also won helmets that are signed. I've won banners that are signed. I've won memorabilia rings. I've won footballs that are signed and other Packers knickknacks because that's my team. But go ahead and check them out. Cheap, affordable prices for certified, authentic stuff.
That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com. Go there, play, and win. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at First and Goal Pod, myself at UPJ33, Dave is at Steak and Cheese, and the fantasy wonder himself, Dylan, at Dylan Busby1. Email us at firstandgoalpodcast@yahoo.com with all your football and Packer questions and comments, and you just might find yourself making the show live. That's firstandgoalpodcast@yahoo.com. All right, we're back. I was distracted watching the freaking ticker on the bottom there. What you got for us, Dave?
Well, I was going to continue on some NFL updates before we rabbit hole, and there's a biggie, which really made me question what the hell this organization is doing. I'm sorry, I'm being for real here. I'm being a NFL football analyst. I'm trying to figure out why this is happening. Why in the hell are the Lions giving Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia a third year? I don't get it. Quinn has had 5 years. Patricia's been there for 2 years and no success. None. He had 6 wins last year. He has 3 wins so far this year.
Can
There's
I
nothing
make
there.
this suggestion?
There's nothing there that
They're
makes me
stuck,
say keep him.
They are stuck with those two guys because of what they just did last offseason. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I won't be
They
surprised.
did nothing. None of those offseason
No.
additions did nothing.
Hold on, Dave. The contract lengths and what they are stuck with, the way there's no out of those. And so basically they're in a situation where I think they're stuck with those guys for 2 more years, next year and the year after.
No,
hold on.
Quinn was in his last year.
Yeah, well, the coach is probably still going to be there. They're going to be stuck with him because here's the problem. You go hire a new coach, he's not going to get. He's not turning Trey Flowers into a double-digit a year sack guy. He's just not that talented. That's why the Patriots let him go. Solid player, wasn't that talented. That's why they didn't want to pay him that type of money he was going to get on the open market. Coleman, same thing. Good corner. There's a reason why they let him go. It's not worth the money. Like, they're stuck with those players. So you get another GM in there, and his hands are tied for a few more years. You get another coach in there, his hands are tied. So then if he can't get those guys to perform, then they fire him. Like the Lions, dude, they're just inept in so many ways. They managed to do the one thing I didn't think they could do, is they screwed up worse than they'd been screwing up. Because now they are stuck. They're just stuck like Chuck right now.
Bob Quinn is the reason why they're that bad. Patricia is a result of Bob Quinn. He had Jim Caldwell for 3 years. 2 years was playoff appearances. 2 years out of those 3.
Yeah, well,
and then
if
they
you
fire
wouldn't
him
have
at
hired
9-7.
Caldwell in the first place, they would have gotten somewhere, because I'm sorry, I said it when Caldwell got hired. You're hiring a guy that took a team to the Super Bowl the year after the guy that built the team retired. After that, you couldn't win 2 games and got fired for 2 seasons. Not a good head coach. He came in, didn't fix none of the problems that Stafford had. Couldn't get him, and he was supposed to be a quarterback guru. Well, he got all this credit for the Super Bowl run that the Ravens went on, but he got fired. That he took over in the last 4 weeks of the season. That wasn't his offense. It wasn't his playbook. All he did was pick the right plays and call them. It's a big deal. Like Caldwell, again, there's a reason why he's not a head coach either. Not a good head coach. He's an okay coordinator. Should never hired him. They screwed up that too.
But
and
why?
Yeah, he made the playoffs, but they should have been much better with the roster he had.
Continue with Detroit. He had winning seasons every year.
Because they thought that, like, I would have fired him too, but I wouldn't have hired the Joker. I would have went after one of the young guys like a LaFleur or like something like that instead of going after Patricia.
They did. They went after the wrong one. Patricia's horrible.
No, dude, you don't go after any Patriots assistant. Period. That's rule number one of coaching.
Bob
like
Quinn is
coaching
that bad.
Search right away. Anybody that works for the Patriots, unless Bill Belichick gets fired and you can hire him, you don't even interview anybody else on his staff. It's a proven track record that gets you nowhere fast. So
I am putting the blame then square on partly Patricia's, but mostly Bob Quinn's shoulders. Bob Quinn is the problem. He's been there 5 years, hasn't done anything after he put in his boy, Matt Patricia. They were both part of the Patriots organization. Tried to bring him in and say, we can copy this Patriot way. Nope, didn't do it at all. I'm sorry, all these contracts they gave him, all these freaking draft picks that they wasted. I'm sorry. TJ Hawkinson, number 8, not worth it. He's already on injured reserve before the season ends. He didn't do anything this year. He had one decent week in Arizona, and then while you had guys like Brian Burns and Josh Allen.
The tight ends from this year's class in the later rounds have produced and been more of the players that the first-round tight ends.
That's what I said in our mock drafts when I said that T.J. Hawkinson was overrated.
Who is the guy you really liked?
There was a couple
Oliver,
of them.
wasn't it?
There was Josh Oliver that went down to
Josh
Jackson.
Oliver.
He got hurt, unfortunately, like second play of his career for this year.
No, I'm just saying, like, there was guys all over the mid-rounds. Like, we got Sternberger in the third round. I know he hasn't played and done much either, but, like, there's a difference between a
look at what Noah
pick
Fant has done.
Well, that's my point. Like, there's a difference between a third and fourth round pick not producing compared to the 8th and 12th overall pick, or 8th and, like, 17th overall picks. But
this is the same problem 4 years ago that Detroit made. Eric Ebron.
10th overall.
Top 10, that's what I'm saying. Top 10 tight ends do not work out. They are rare when they do.
Well, the only one I can think of right off the top of my head from recent history, and it's not even recent, would be Vernon
Wasn't that Tony Gonzalez too? Wasn't he a
He's
first
drafted
rounder?
fourth overall, I believe,
Yeah,
third or fourth
but
overall.
that's a rarity. Look
But
how
no,
long
but
ago
even,
it
yeah,
was.
but even Tony Gonzalez, I just watched his football life. His first 2 or 3 years in the league were not what they thought they were going to get out of him. Then his third year, like that, yeah, he like it took him a couple of years to adjust to the NFL, and he was getting called bust, and he just was a hardworking, grind it, wasn't going to give up type of dude. But he really could fit your mold of. If you look at his first 2 years and where he's drafted, you're going, that's not what we thought we were getting when we drafted him. Now his career turned out much better, but dude, I love these. By the way, rabbit hole. I don't know about you, but I love the Football Life series.
Some are okay, some are decent.
Not all, not no. I'm not saying all of them are great, but just the concept in itself. Like some of them are like, just the player didn't want that interesting or whatever. But a lot of them, like I think my favorite one I've watched so far is the Roger Staubach. He's one of my favorite ones I've watched because that was just they got some interesting nuggets in there. But that anyway. But yeah, so.
No, that's my question is why do the Lions aim for mediocrity or less? Martha Ford, everyone says, oh, she needs a championship. Well, maybe she should get her head out of her ass and go get herself a GM that knows what the hell he's doing. Everyone complains, oh, Martin Mayhew put us in this horrible, horrible decade of darkness. Well, Quinn had a coach that got him to the playoffs twice out of 3 years. Yeah, Caldwell may not be Jay's biggest pick, but you know what? He still got the job done to get him to the playoffs. But
he's a much better coach than Patricia. Let's be clear
that's my
about
point.
that now.
That's my point. They downgraded from Caldwell with 3 winning seasons to a guy for 6 wins.
My point basically with Caldwell was you were firing him to try to go after somebody that you thought could take the next step. Like he clearly, yes, he could make the playoffs and then. But, like, if you're going to fire that guy, and look, I agreed with firing him, just like I could agree with firing Lovely Smith because there was a plateau there. But you don't go and, like, go hire, like, you don't go from Lovey Smith to Mark Trestman. You don't go from Caldwell to, like, you don't take 4 steps backwards in your coaching, like, change. Like, that one I didn't get. There were so many other candidates out there that you could have considered that would have been, even if they wouldn't have turned out to be the next big thing, they just would have been better coaches than this guy.
Nope, I agree.
Just keep Caldwell. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you that he wasn't, but like if you're going to move on from a coach like that because you think there's a plateau there, not that he's not a bad coach, but that he's just not that guy that's going to take you past, winning a wild card game. You know what I mean? You don't go hire the ass clown that has a pencil when he's carrying around a dry eraser sheet. Like, I agree with that statement. I am not trusting a man that has a pencil in his hat that carries around a dry erase sheet. It tells me he's a stupid guy.
Patricia, when Kane Bryson came on and told us those stories about how Bill had to sit in on the meetings of his defensive coordinator because his players weren't showing up. They were falling asleep in the meeting. That just told me right there, this guy has no room anywhere to be a head coach. Anywhere. And I was talking to Julius earlier about this. And he goes, yeah, I don't want him to be here, but if we got him, I got to have faith in him. I'm like, no, Julius, you're applying false optimism in a pair of guys that you even just said you don't want there. Why not be the voice of reason and try and go out there, especially with your Detroit Sports Nation spot? Why not go out there and put your voice out and say, hey, these guys need to get gone. They're not cutting it. That's what it means to me is just you're playing in a division with the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers, all 3 competitive franchises. Your franchise is known as like the freaking blue bruise stain on the division. Like, come on. It's old now. Move them out. Put the Bucks back in at least. Hell, the Bucks are 7-7. I mean, wouldn't you take the Bucks back over the Lions in a heartbeat? They're 7-7, dude. I'll take it. They're better than 3 and freaking 10-1.
I don't know, man. They're kind of equal franchises to me, except for one. The only difference there is they lucked out and bought a Super Bowl, basically.